Go Pizza presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Jake effing Muzzin.
Gardner. I thought you were going to say Gardner.
No! Why would I say Jake Gardner?
I don't know. Well, because all Leaf fans were like, get rid of Jake! And Kyle Dubas, with that BDE, if you know what I mean, goes out and gets another Jake. Take that, Jake haters.
My favorite thing was reading the comment sections from both the Kings fans and the Leaf fans. The Kings fans are like, what a bunch of losers. We just fleeced the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, really?
Look
I
at
didn't see that at all.
Look at all of our stuff. And Leaf fans are like, what a bunch of losers. Gonna go lose for Hughes now. We got Jake Muzzin going for the Cup, boys.
Let's go.
And it's really funny that both sides feel like they won, and I think that that's a good trade.
I, honestly, as a Leafs fan, I'm very happy that we didn't have to give up Sandin, didn't have to give up Liljegren, even Bracco. Pretty excited. I really, really think that's a player. And Grundstrom's a player too. And Jersey's a player too. I just don't see Jersey as being as good as Liljegren one day, or Sandin. And I don't see, even though Sandin is left-handed, thank you for mentioning that, everybody. And
imagine we suggested that a left-handed defenseman might play the right side.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with handedness for me. I was just like, he's good, he's better.
Yeah.
And Grundstrom, I just feel like, I think that's an NHL player. Honestly, he might be able to make the Kings right now. I was looking at their roster.
Oh, I think so.
There's not much point in it because, I don't know, you can send him down. Why wouldn't you send him down? But I don't think he's terribly far away on a team that could use a little bit of snarl up front.
If Toffoli and Carter and some of the other guys, maybe Ilya Kovalchuk are traded in the next few months, I could see Grundstrom playing.
Well, and just looking at some guys in their roster, what's the gap between Carl Grundstrom and Austin Wagner? I don't think it's huge. And I like Grundstrom. I wanted him to be a Leaf one day. I didn't think he was far away from being a Leaf. If a couple people go down during the playoffs, I mean, is he the next guy behind Trevor Moore? There's a good chance, but I just like Bracco so much more for what he brings in the future. That said, Kings got a right-handed defenseman, a winger who definitely makes it, in my opinion, and a first-round pick. That's all right, guys.
That's okay.
And you're in a bit of cap trouble. You shed some money for the rest of this year, $4 million next year. And what were you going to do? Retain Muzzin? That doesn't really make any sense for the Kings.
What was interesting was there were some people that said, "What's the rush? Why do it now?" And from the Leafs perspective, I understand doing the deal now, but I'm talking about closer to the trade deadline this year. Why not take bids? And I guess the sense that they got was that Rob Blake was like, no, we set this price. This is our price. Meet the price. We'll give you the deal. Because he didn't want to go into the trade deadline. And God forbid he hangs on to Muzzin.
Yep.
And then you've got less. So he probably looked at it and this is a sure thing. We like the players involved. We like the pick involved. Let's just take it. And we'll focus on taking bids for other players closer to the deadline.
Yes. I kind of like the idea of, okay, get this out of the way. Could you have maybe squeezed an extra
fifth?
Yeah.
Conditional?
Fourth round pick out of someone? Or do you want to get this real big fish out of the way and now you can focus on, let's make a deal for this guy. Let's make a deal for that guy. At the draft, we can focus on actually making picks, moving up, moving down, trading this guy, acquiring this guy so that we're actually competitive next year. The Kings got a decent return for Muzzin, and the Leafs also didn't have to give up the sun and the moon. Mm-hmm. I think it's a great move.
I agree. I think it's great for both sides. It's a steal for Dubas in one respect, and I think the key thing is he did not move a player off the active roster. There was no guarantee that Jersey would have even been a Marley next year, and that's the apparently. Now it depends on who you talk to. Scott Wheeler, same publication on these two writers. Okay, so Scott Wheeler says top 5 prospect in the Leafs organization.
Yep,
and Scott would know. Scott pays a lot of attention to this. James Myrtle said in his piece that a lot of scouts had kind of soured on Jersey. Now, I'm not trying to shoot a guy in the foot as he walks out of town. Yeah. He's obviously quite the prospect. but he said, yeah, they're maybe not as high as they used to be.
That's confusing.
I don't know. I think, it goes back to scouting. How do you know?
I think scouts are also super fickle because Durzi wasn't even picked in his first year of eligibility. Then in his second year of eligibility, he's a second rounder.
And
6 months after, they've soured on him? Pick!
Yeah.
What is he?
Yeah.
No, that's ridiculous. Durzi is an over a point a game defenseman since being traded to the Guelph Storm in the OHL. That's all right.
He is an overager, though.
So what?
Okay,
Like it's still even the best players in the OHL have a hard time being a point a game, and and those are forwards. Defenders, that very rarely happens. He's a special player. As an overager, of course. But.
So, it's a steal for Kyle Dubas in the sense that he doesn't have to touch the active roster, which is great. Now, you've got Andreas Johnsson still has to come back from a concussion. Like, he's been out.
Yeah,
the fact that you didn't have to lose Kasperi Kapanen. And I think there's merits, and we could talk about that a little bit. But I think right now, the cap situation is solidified next year a little bit more with a guy like Jake Muzzin. Here's what I love. So, just so everybody's clear, Jake Gardiner will not be a Toronto Maple Leaf next year.
I'm still not convinced.
No, there's no way.
I think Dubas is crazy enough to think he can do it.
Well,
I think he can do it.
Yeah, why not?
Because you have to dump Zaitsev, Gardiner's salary off the books, and Hainsey, and I still think you've got 8 or 9 guys to re-sign with about $12 million. Now, if you allot, and I think it was Drag Like Pull who did this, if you allot, say, $22 million for Matthews and Marner, which I think is pretty fair at this
God,
point.
I hope not.
So, well, it is. That's what it's going to be, right? It is what it is.
Is
and
that
that's
Marner
fine.
jar? That's Marner jar.
But
Sorry.
what's interesting about that is that, Andreas Johnsson, people look at him and they go, well, he's going to get Connor Brown money. Well, Connor Brown, the year Connor Brown got Connor Brown money, scored 20 goals. Andreas Johnsson is not going to score 20 goals this year. He's played well in spurts, but he started slow. Now he's been injured. So, yes, he took the $700,000 contract to bet on himself, but I don't see Andreas Johnsson blowing up the bank or whatever.
He might have to be. It might be a pair of bridges with Johnsson and Kapanen.
Yeah, and why not?
The Yarncroke deal would be nice, which I think was $2 million times 5. But how far off is that from the Connor Brown deal, which I think was 2.1 times 4?
Also, Jonsson's on pace for 20 goals.
He's on pace still?
Yeah, because he has 10 goals and it's 43 games in the season.
Sure. Yeah, his agent will argue that for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see where he ends up, but he's literally on pace.
But if you're a GM, you'll say, yeah, he was on pace, but he didn't actually do it.
We'll see.
And I need to see him do it.
You might get there.
I think to get rid of a roster player, it's either got to be an undeniable deal that helps the team this year or the offseason. Mm-hmm. Like, people are still talking about, like, oh, yeah, I think I saw someone say this increases the likelihood of Zaitsev getting moved before the deadline. No, I don't think so.
No.
I think it increases the likelihood of him being moved, to be honest, but before the deadline, no. You don't.
I don't see that either. I think it's a lot of money to move. $4 million doesn't seem like all that much, but when you've got 6 more years attached to it.
4.5.
Do they have to move him? He has a modified no trade that starts this July 1st.
So
It's
maybe the draft.
Deal.
So do they have to move him before July 1st?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I
And
think
they
so.
will.
This
They
was
will.
Lou signing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bad signing?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
But
there's a few.
we don't know exactly who that was. And we should also mention that, it's funny, it gets lost in the All-Star break. The 2 games leading into the All-Star break, I thought were Zaitsev's 2 best of the season. Like, he looked good playing against a tired Capitals team. Away from Jake Gardiner, too, which is interesting. And I don't blame that on Jake. Maybe it's just a better fit. I don't know. So, now, what are the Leafs' pairings?
Well, you got to think they're going to try Muzzin Riley to start. Mm-hmm. You got to think they'll try that.
And it's weird that they're automatically putting Muzzin on the right. Because Riley has spent
I don't know that they are.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know that they are.
Riley spent a decent chunk of his career on the right. When they put him and Gardiner together, I'm pretty sure Riley's the guy on the right.
And Riley's the guy that Mike Babcock, right? Not that you wouldn't trust Muzzin, but Mike Babcock knows Morgan Riley inside out at this point, right? So
yeah.
You say, okay, so
on
Jake
the right and
Muzzin's
left.
first game, New Jersey, hometown team, and new system. We're not going to throw him out there on the right side.
Oh, literally wearing a new jersey.
No, not against New Jersey.
I was
Yeah.
like, it's Detroit. What? I get it. It's a red team. I was confused too. Sorry, Adam. I should have never doubted
okay,
you.
man. Don't worry about it.
I know I'm the worst.
But you're not going to throw him out there against that pressure. So if I'm Mike Babcock on Friday, which is their first game, I'm trying Jake Muzzin and Morgan Riley, but Morgan Riley's playing the right side.
All over the place. Or, some people were suggesting why not just keep together the pair of Riley Gardner, make that your new first pair.
It'd be great.
And now Muzzin can handle XYZ. You can put him with. Gee, I don't know. Do you put him with Zaitsev? Is Dermott now a right-handed guy? Or,
He's
sorry, a
played
right-sided
significant
guy?
right-sided stuff, right?
Yes. But I really, if you can give Ron Hainsey for anything besides a slap shot, I'd say he can be a mentor. It's not his fault that he's been played too much in too significant of a role. I think he's been a good mentor. So, Hainsey, Dermott, I don't hate at all. You're not going to take Zaitsev out of the lineup, so
Ozhiganov's out.
Ozhiganov's
Without
out.
question,
So it might
Ozhiganov's out.
it might end up being Muzzin Zaitsev.
Yeah.
Because I'm just Gardner Zaitsev. I don't know. I'm not feeling it.
I've never felt really good about that pair. I also think I think Ron Hainsey is effective in limited minutes.
Well, we're about to find out for the first time.
Yeah.
The first time in his Leafs tenure.
Wait, so we're not going Gardner Hainsey?
No. So I
No?
think Babcock
that
has
would be
already
interesting,
said that Dermott Hainsey was the plan, or someone said Dermott Hainsey
He
was
really
the plan.
believes in Zaitsev. Like Babs really believes in him.
He's not taking out Zaitsev for Ozhiganov.
No, I wasn't saying
no,
that.
no, no.
Yeah.
But Hainsey Gardner.
Muzzin,
Hainsey,
Riley, Dermott, Zaitsev, Gardner, Hainsey.
It was either last year or the
Why
year
not that?
before.
Why not?
It was either last year or the year before. Riley was out of the lineup for a bit, and they had a Hainsey Gardner pairing, and I can't remember if it was an unmitigated disaster or if it was sick. I feel like it might have been sick. I feel like while Riley was out of the lineup for it was like 5 games, Gardner was like 3 points a game or something like that. Hey, isn't this a nice conversation?
Sure is.
Someone asked me this question. How close is the Leafs defense to $2.50? I think it's just about there.
Sure could use a Radko Gudas quarter in there.
That's the gumball.
Oh.
That's the gumball. You buy the the chocolate baseball glove because it's chocolate and delicious. But the gumball, if it's not there, it's like, give me my damn gumball.
What are you talking about?
The ice cream analogy I've made no less than 13 times, Jesse. Do you not know what I'm talking about?
Did you know what Steve was talking about?
I feel like I...
Are you joking?
I know
the gumball and the...
Are you both
we're
joking?
just asking about being able to afford the gumball in the first place. And if you don't have $2.50, how can you afford the gumball?
Yeah, how did you already get a baseball
Because you said we're
chocolate
just
thing?
about there with $2.50. Are we there or are we not there?
We're there.
Because
We're there.
In all honesty, the top 4 best players on the Leafs defense, which would be Riley, Gardner, Muzzin, Dermott, is a pretty good top 4.
That's okay.
But the problem is...
It's not the best in the league.
The problem is...
It's there.
They're not playing the 4 of them together. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's another advantage of doing the deal now. Is they get to find out, right?
Yeah, so I look at the situation and think, okay, well, it's a great move for Toronto. One thing that that did come up, and I think is worth them looking at, and Ian Tulloch mentioned this when I was on his podcast, and a guy like Kasperi Kapanen, very useful player. Andreas Johnsson, very useful player. These are great young players. These are great.
Yeah.
But if you look at a guy like Brett Pesce, you look at a guy like Justin Falk, you look at a guy like I'm just mentioning all the Carolina Hurricanes basically.
Yes.
Because they're apparently going to auction off all the right-handed D, which is a smart thing for them to do if they can get some scoring. You asked
one
Ian
of them,
about it,
sure,
and he says some of those guys, yeah, sure, I'd miss Kasperi, but see ya. He said you get a guy with cost certainty on that defensive back end for a long time who's young and good and right-handed.
Well, and that's worth something, right? That is worth something in this league. Muzzin for $4 million this year and next is really, really good value. So let's say the Leafs get Muzzin and they lose Gardner. in the offseason. They get a guy who is arguably better, or at very least on par, who actually makes slightly less money. So it's kind of like getting another year out of Gardner in a way. Mm-hmm. It's like a free year that's not free at all, and I don't know why I tried to justify that. But it keeps them under the cap.
Yeah.
Now,
so if you don't sign Gardner, it's not a disaster.
Yeah, like people have been saying, well, you got to go get value for him. You got to trade him. If you think you're as good as the Leafs think they are, it's so hard to justify. And I know a couple years are going to pass now, and they got nothing for Bozak, and they got nothing for JVR, and then it's going to be nothing for Gardner. And unless you get a cup out of that, people are going to be sour. But it's so tough to justify getting rid of one of your top 4 defenders heading into the playoffs unless you get one back.
I don't think that is a hard justification. I think if you're looking at, I know that there will be people that drop that sentiment, and I know you're absolutely right on that. But to anybody that would say that, oh, you need to get value out of everything, the value sometimes is them playing for you. And I think that if you are truly going to go for it, sometimes you have to accept the fact that people are going to walk away. And that is why you have the Marlies. That is why you have one of the better scouting staffs out there. Mm-hmm. That is why you have development programs and food nutrition and all the things that the Leafs have. Because they know certain good players are just going to walk. That's the way it is. Every good team has that. And I look at that and I think that is if you are looking to be really good for a long time but never fully win it, that's a great way to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you have got to be kidding me if you think that losing Jake Gardner at this point would be a good decision just so you could get some futures.
It's why you traded away a first-round pick. It's because you're not trying to build for the future. You're trying to win now.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you're getting rid of it. You're sacrificing the future for the present.
And the Leafs can't, because they have built for the future. And you look at a guy like Jake Muzzin, and James Myrtle made a really good point about this in his piece. If you can't re-sign Jake Muzzin in a couple years, which, that's a different conversation. We don't need to talk about that right now. But if you can't, you hope at that point that Sandin and Liljegren are kind of ready to go.
Well, yes, that's why it's so perfect. The Leafs have 2 old guys. That's it. 2. Muzzin at 29 is older, but he's not old.
Wait, who's the other old guy?
He's in his prime.
Oh,
Hainsey and Marleau.
Oh, okay.
They have 2 old guys and the coach. Like, that's about it. Sure. So, like Scott Wheeler was having this conversation about, he just wrote about the Leafs' top 5 prospects. They just got rid of 2 of them in the Kings deal. So they're very thin. Well, fair, but I don't think it tells the full story.
So what do you think does?
The full story is Nylander is, 21? Mm-hmm. 22? Marner is 21?
Nylander's 22, Matthews 21.
Kapanen was a 2014 draft pick.
Kapanen's
Jansson's
22,
2013.
Marner's 21.
Yeah.
Gautier's 23.
The reason their system is thin is because they've graduated so many people.
Yeah.
Yes. And I've been saying this for a while. And then I saw Casual Mats talking about, the Leafs need a right-handed defender so bad, and then they get rid of who could be a pretty good one in Sean Durzi. Well, you have Timothy Liljegren, and
by the way, Jersey may not be a Leaf for 3 years.
Well, and who knows? Right? And in that time, Adam, it takes you to lose a couple guys, graduate Liljegren. For crying out loud, what do you have a front office for? Find one! I don't care how you do it, but there's tons of options. Make a trade.
Europe.
Sign one. Europe. Draft one. You have all kinds of options, and if you can't find one in the next 3 years, you're a bum. They'll be fine. Mm-hmm. I think they'll be fine. And they've put themselves in a position to be able to afford to do this.
Yeah. I think Leaf fans, and rightfully so, are scarred because we've seen this happen before.
Stop being afraid of success.
We saw Alex Steen dealt for nothing. Yeah. We saw Brad Boyes dealt for Owen Nolan, score 40 goals, and we saw, we've seen our top prospects be traded out and that sort of thing, especially our generation. Mm-hmm. We're not used to this where...
Tuukka
Rask.
Who?
Exactly.
Tuukka Rask.
The Raskcroft
getting
trade.
Smoked every time he gets in the net,
Yeah.
Hookah.
Continue.
The point I'm trying to make here is that it's okay, guys. listen, you want to hang on to 3 years of development of Sean Jersey, or do you want to have Jake Muzzin now? I will take Jake Muzzin now 100 times out of 100. And that's just the way it has to be sometimes. They don't have it in the system. They developed everything else. Everything else is taken care of. They figured out, we have to make a trade here. That's why you have depth of system.
Is this deal worth it for Jake Muzzin if you're the LA Kings? Sean Jersey, Carl Grundstrom, and Anthony Beauvillier from the New York Islanders. I'm just throwing that name out there.
Maybe?
Because he was the 28th overall pick.
Oh,
just
okay.
in 2015.
Sure.
How about Jersey, Grundstrom, and Travis Dermott?
Who was a later
The 34th pick that same year. How about Jersey, Grundstrom, and Sebastian Aho?
Why not?
The good one. There's two. And the other one's good too, but this one's much better. Leafs fans should be happy. Yeah, you might get burned. You know what? The Anaheim Ducks were essentially built by the Toronto Maple Leafs. So many of their prospects on their team and still developing are picks given to them by the Leafs. And I don't hear people crying about them nearly as much as I used to. You know why? The Leafs are in a slump and they're still 7th. Be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Leafs are not upset about losing Sam Steele when you have Freddie Anderson.
I mean,
The Leafs aren't 7th.
aren't they?
They're 2nd in the division.
Oh, 7th in the league.
No, and yeah, in the
Entire
whole league.
NHL.
Oh, that doesn't mean
They're a
anything.
point
No,
behind
and
the
what if-
Islanders, though, Jesse.
No, that is a very-
big deal.
We have home ice advantage in the playoffs and are the second.
No.
seed
Yeah,
in the
by only
division.
1 point over the Canadians.
Quick question. Can you look up Radko Gudas' contract?
Sure.
I want to say it's 3.5
the
this
rest
year
of
and
this year?
next. I think it's this year and next, yeah. The Leafs have $4 million in cap space roughly for the rest of the
Gudas.
season, but that's obviously prorated.
3.35 through this year and next year.
So that's another guy where you're like, why not?
Dude,
Why
I'd
not?
take it.
And you do have to, at this point, the Leafs have $4 million in salary that'll probably, a good chunk of that's eaten up by Marner's and Matthews hitting their bonuses. So that would push stuff to next year, which they don't want to do because they're going to be tight already.
Yeah.
But I look at that and think, well, there's an opportunity there to move out one of the guys who's making money. And the name keeps coming up. Other than Nikita Zaitsev,
Patrick Marleau.
Connor Brown. Patrick Marleau's not probably going to get traded, and every time I bring it up, people are like, he's got a non-trade thing.
He's a dad.
He's a dad, and he's got a non-trade, and they can't. And no one with a non-trade clause has ever been traded before. It's never happened. No. It's Connor Brown. And that's a guy where you're like, okay, I could see that guy being useful for a Philadelphia.
Dude, whoever the new person is in Edmonton should be kicking the door down for Connor Brown, I think, man. Because he's a depth player on the Leafs. I think he's capable of
Top-line
scoring.
right winger.
I honestly think he's capable of scoring 20 goals again. You're getting a guy who automatically has built-in chemistry and a relationship with Connor McDavid.
Do they take the captaincy away from Connor McDavid and give it to Connor Brown the way it was in Erie?
They ought to. They ought to, Adam. Yeah.
That picture is really weird with Connor Brown wearing the big C and then Connor McDavid's just sitting beside him. Like
You could even say it's eerie. You see, because
I ought to say it's Erie.
The Oilers don't have anyone to give up, though, that the Leafs would need.
no, not really.
Trying to make a deal for
I was
Well, if
thinking
you're trying to dump salary, though.
a deal for Radko Gudas. This is so weird, but in order to be able to afford it just a little bit better, I wonder if the Flyers would take, like, I don't know, a second might not be enough, but some sort of package of picks, and they have to take one of Marincin or Hall just
I think
to get
they'd have
that
to,
cap
yeah.
hit off.
Well, that and the fact that they would need, I think, the roster spot. The Leafs are carrying 9 defensemen right now, which I think means Ojaganov's going down. Because they'll...
Can he?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, can he?
He can.
Oh, yeah? No.
Yeah?
He can be sent down.
Okay.
So until you work out a deal for Hall and Marincin, by the way, I don't think Hall would be claimed. I don't know why where this. I mean, I could see Marincin maybe being claimed. I don't think Justin Hall is going to be claimed, and if he is,
Don't risk losing Ozhiganov for that.
well, you wouldn't lose Ozhiganov. He can be sent down.
But he might also go F this and leave.
Really? After the entire season, he's going to go back?
Not a ton of Russian players enjoy being sent down to the AHL when they have the option of going back to the KHL. Yeah. Now, it's different here a little bit because he could be back up in a jiffy and know he's going to get back in the lineup. He gets to live in the same city. Doesn't have to make any arrangements. You're not getting sent down from Vancouver to Utica.
Yeah, because if the AHL team was somewhere else, there'd be no way to get them to the games.
No way!
Planes don't exist.
To get to they don't. They
Can't wait for the Wright brothers to come along and invent those.
Can't
and
wait.
Kitty Hawk.
Or the Ozhiganov brothers.
That's
I don't
right.
know. I tried to think of another Russian name, and that was the only one that came to mind.
No, I think that you talk to Igor Ozhiganov and you say, listen, we got to do this. Working out some more deals. You'll be back.
It's interesting. Well, it's okay. So we're all three of us are in agreement that Dubas isn't done, right? Before the deadline.
I don't think intelligently you were ever done.
Wow.
I don't think you're ever done.
Okay, fine. You think another move gets made? Forget trying to make one. It's gonna get made.
Yeah, I think they make another move.
Me too.
Evidently, Pierre LeBrun was saying today in his column that they were looking at maybe adding some muscle up front if they could. Like a Wayne Simmons would be out of reach at this point.
Probably, yeah.
But that they would like to add, especially if they're going to play Boston, they'd like to have a little more toughness up front with skill, like Wayne Simmons' toughness and skill. But when I look at something like that, I go, who else is out there? Whereas on the back end, to me, Radko Gudas is like the shining light. Because and I doubt very many people have said Radko Gudas shining light before, but him or people have talked about Nick Jensen as well.
Jensen.
I don't see how it could hurt. It costs you less than Wayne Simmons does. You have him for longer, and you have a little bit of cost certainty going into next year, and can make some decisions. Like if you go into next year, okay, you're going into camp. Let's say you've got Muzzin, Riley, Dermott. You probably still got Zaitsev, to be honest. Gudas, and it pushes Calle Rosen and Rasmus Sandin and Timothy Liljegren to push for that spot, and you can hang on to Martin Marincin because you can.
The muscle up front has me very confused because I can't imagine who they would get and how they would fit them, and who would come out of the lineup.
Which is why I don't think they're going to make a forward move. I just don't see it.
Yo, Michael Furland? But no, they can't. They can't. That'd be sick, but they can't.
I don't know how you make that deal without subtracting from the roster and making yourself worse.
Well, Carolina is wacky at the moment, and they really, really, really want a forward. There could be something there. All I know is the Leafs made one trade so far, and it made them better. It's neat. Mm-hmm. It's a novel concept.
And if it's the last one, that's fine too.
I heard
a upgrade.
Really good discussion on the radio yesterday. It was Hockey Central at noon. It was Jeff Merrick along with Anthony Stewart and Mike Zigamanis. And what caught their attention caught mine as well. Jamie Oleksiak going from the Pittsburgh Penguins back to the Dallas Stars. Not just, we'll get to the pick in a sec. That's a weird story in itself. What is Pittsburgh doing shedding? What is Pittsburgh doing selling?
Why not?
Right now?
Well, they've had a rough year, but I think that they're gearing up for something because Jim Rutherford is that guy.
Yeah, I think they're going to use that pick or use the room or roster spot or...
What could a conditional fourth get you?
How weird was that trade, by the way?
Which
it was
one?
the exact same trade.
Well,
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Never in my life.
Dallas called Pittsburgh back and said, we need a guy who's not horseshit.
You're not fucking horseshit. So, the initial trade... So Dallas got Jamie Oleksiak, I want to say in 2011, first rounder?
2011. Oh, you're talking about the initial getting.
Yeah, the initial. And then they traded him to Pittsburgh in exchange for Minnesota's fourth round pick this year?
Yes.
Or next?
It would have been this year.
This year.
Yeah.
So Minnesota's fourth round pick this year. Dallas just got him back in exchange for that exact same pick. So it makes it like the original trade Never happened.
Except he played a year in Pittsburgh for fun.
Yeah, like a year and a half.
A year and a month.
You
Because
could
it was
look
last
at it-
December.
Okay.
It was almost a year to the date if they had just done it a month earlier.
That's interesting.
So Pittsburgh got, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was something like 83 games, like between regular season and playoffs. Basically a full season of Jamie Oleksiak for completely free, except for the cap space. So it's almost like Pittsburgh, mid-season last year, signed Jamie Oleksiak as a free agent, and then he left. No, I've never seen anything quite like it. I've seen teams trade a pick and then get that pick back. I've never seen a trade completely, cleanly, no strings attached, wiped out. That's so bizarre. That's so bizarre. So Pittsburgh basically got a year of Jamie Oleksiak for free, other than they paid him for his services.
It was December 19th, 2017. Dallas sent him there, and then January 28th, 2019, they sent him back.
So a year and a month.
A year and a month.
Penny's brother. And they got him for free for a year.
That makes no sense.
I'm trying to understand, like, because it was Jim Nill the whole time, wasn't it? And it was Jim Rutherford. It was a pair of Jims the whole time. And Jim Lights was supervising it. There's a lot of Jims in this story.
You know how I look at it?
How do you look at it?
I look at it as Hall for Larson, Puljujarvi, Lucic, and Strome. Spooner.
Wow. So it was
Oleksiak.
You got the 4th round pick, you got to keep it, and you didn't have Alexiak's cap hit last year, and then you
And
also
McDavid.
get Alexiak
And
McDavid.
McDavid.
And
That's how I look at it.
Jim Lights is brilliant, and that's how it works.
I can't believe we've spent this much time on a Jamie Oleksiak trade.
Man,
It's fascinating.
I think it's fascinating.
Also, speaking of weird trade things, how come you predicted the trade
Yeah,
yesterday?
why did you say that?
Why did
Okay.
you say a trade was going to happen?
Some
What did you know?
context here. Steve wakes up the morning of the Muzzin trade and goes, "There's going to be a trade today."
Yeah.
And I wrote back and I was like, "Doesn't count if it's a conditional 5th." And then Oleksiak got traded for a conditional 4th, and people were like, "Whoa, almost got it!"
Yeah.
And
But then later in the day, Jake Muzzin's traded to the Leafs, and
I was just like,
that's insane.
oh my God. Like, when was the last...
did you have insider knowledge?
Yeah.
or something?
Man, my phone was going crazy. Everyone wanted to know, like, did you have the inside track on this? Did you want to know, like JD Bunkus messaged me? And I'm like, no. That was a complete, literally sitting on my couch, just going,
That's
and then I left
crazy.
the house. And then I, didn't check my phone for
That's
a while.
insane.
I just
That's weird, man.
shot in the dark.
That's like weird.
How many trades do the Leafs make in a season?
One?
4?
4.
Max.
And it's usually like, hey, here's some guy you've never heard of for
Yeah.
a conditional.
Yeah,
Here's Jonas
here's
Enroth for a 7.
Michael Carcone.
Yeah.
Or is it, did I even say his name
Michael
right?
Carson isn't the guy.
Carcone.
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 There you go.
At this point, we're pretty close to calling him just Mike Bibbidi Bobbidi.
Just Guy.
Yeah,
Guy.
Mike Guy. Mike Guy is a creative player in NHL '96.
Yeah.
That's the sort of
And
guy
he's got
I picture.
the NHL 96, not really sure what he looks like face, but they put it on
Yeah.
every player that they didn't have scanned, you know?
There was I forget what website, it might have been Deadspin. They did an interesting feature on the Madden guys. They have a generic guy that they use for a lot of the people in Madden. And so if you pay attention enough, you'll see the same guys going at each other on like the offensive defensive line. Because there's so many players in the NFL that they can't get to modeling everybody every year.
Sure.
There's so much turnover. So they have this generic guy and they just kind of change his skin tone for whatever skin tone you are. It's terrible. But they have to find some way to get these people in the game.
It's so funny that they follow, like in the NHL game, that's just expected.
Yeah.
But the Madden and the FIFA games are so detailed that people are like, wow, can you believe there's a generic face? Whereas if you're a hockey fan, it's like, oh, they're all generic
of
faces.
course.
Yeah, you
because
don't even
we don't
notice.
have because we don't have the money for
But
this.
in the NFL, isn't it like 3,000 players?
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
something
God,
like
yeah.
50
It's-
times
It's
30.
55 times 32.
50.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more. Wow.
Plus free agent. That's 1760. Plus free
Practice
agents
roster.
and practice squad and special teams and all
Where did I
that.
come up with 3,000?
Yeah, you're
wow.
a little off, but yeah.
That was a lot off.
It's still
it was
a lot.
double. Yeah.
Now,
Jamie Oleksiak, the size of a football player, tied it all together. Great broadcaster. Yes, Adam?
going into this last part of the season, apparently, I don't know how the Leafs schedule sort of stacks up. I know they got a lot of games against Buffalo, which are making a hard charge.
I think they have a lot of divisional games.
Which is, to me, a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I want them to play their own division as much as possible in the next 30 games. Not just because you want to get ahead in the points, but their division is the toughest in the league. I want them to play good competition and be used to it by the playoffs.
How many times have they played Montreal?
Bum schedule. What's that?
How many times have they played Montreal? Once? I think it was the home opener, and that was it.
Yeah, maybe.
And Montreal almost beat them. They outplayed them, for sure.
I'm looking at the schedule. So let's have a look here. Quick look. Red Wings, Penguins this weekend. So that's Friday, Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Ducks Monday. Senators Wednesday. Canadians next Saturday. Then you got the Rangers, Avalanche, Golden Knights, Coyotes. So your Western Blues. So I guess they're going on a Western swing.
Yeah, they're going on a long one. Yeah, over a week.
Then they've got Capitals, Canadians, Sabres, Oilers, Islanders, Sabres, Flames, Canucks, Oilers, Lightning, Blackhawks, Flyers, Senators, Predators. Like, this is not an easy schedule.
That stretch there, they got, what was it? It was they do the Western Road Swing.
Well,
the Western Canadian Road Swing, and then they play the Lightning?
See, here's the weird thing. Google is telling me it's 7 p.m. start, so maybe they're coming to Toronto, but it doesn't...
Just go to the Leafs website.
I'll check it out.
See, even if they're on the road, but it's a Saturday, then it might be a 7 p.m. start.
According to Power Rankings Guru, they do strength of schedule rankings.
Oh, cool.
Let's play a little game.
Oh.
Out of the 31 NHL teams, where do you think the Leafs rank on strength of schedule remaining?
Ooh, so this is strength of schedule being against them? Or in their
How
favor?
tough the competition is.
1 would be you have the most difficult schedule ahead. 31 would be the easiest schedule.
I'm going to say 7th, because that's where they are in the league. Right?
Third.
30th. Can you believe that?
Really?
Yes, they're only ahead, I guess, of the New Jersey Devils with strength of schedule remaining. Their first half was...
As in, so they have the easiest schedule?
They have the second easiest schedule for the remaining of the season.
Gee, that might explain a few things for the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah.
Who knows? Imagine they go on this crazy miracle run.
So going in on the first half, the strength of schedule played, New Jersey was second. So they
Where
played
were the Leafs in the first half?
They were right in the middle. They're 15th.
Well, I guess the schedule is a lot easier when your team is very good.
That makes sense.
The one thing is that, like, of course the Leafs are middle of the league. They're one of the top teams in the league. So everyone who plays against them is going to be a lower rank. So you would look at that as a softer schedule, right?
Also, it changes throughout the season. Like, certain teams get better.
Yeah. But I look at it now. Okay, so, like, if you just look at the month of February, which starts Friday, by the way. Isn't that crazy? Detroit, Pittsburgh, Anaheim, Ottawa, Montreal, New York, Rangers, Colorado, Vegas, Arizona, St. Louis, Washington, Montreal, Buffalo, Edmonton, New York Islanders. Now, you can look at a lot of those teams and go, well, a lot of those are not playoff teams who are on the cusp, like the Rangers, Ottawa, Arizona, St. Louis is on the cusp. But I also look at that and go, these, except, like you look at Ottawa, always plays Toronto hard. Detroit always plays Toronto hard.
Islanders.
The Rangers are not a bad team. They're just not a great team. They're not going to make the playoffs. St. Louis is pushing hard for the playoffs. Buffalo is absolutely charging hard for the playoffs.
There's no sleepy games. Like,
no.
I'm looking at the Friday game against Detroit, like, hey, Arnold. And they're not hey Arnold. Like Arnold in front of Miss Frizzle just going, please let this be a normal field trip, because with the Red Wings it's always ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're the Frizz. No way. It's the Red Wings cough up a 3-1 lead, 4-1 lead. They still got 4-1 and 3-1 leads. Stop it. Play the Red Wings properly, damn it. And then the Penguins are always a nightmare.
Yeah. It's good. Anyway, I want them to have a tougher schedule just because I feel like they're going to need it. They're going to need it. The playoffs is an all tough schedule.
Yes, it is the best 16 teams. And you're playing against 15 of them. Lucky you. So knock one off.
Also, can we just make a pact that we're just going to enjoy the next 6 months?
I can't promise you anything, Adam.
Can we just enjoy? Not even the next 5. Like, let's just enjoy the fact that this team is good. We finally have a good team. We think that they can challenge for at least the second round. We believe that. And that we don't need to continually talk. There's nothing else to say about Marner and Matthews. unless there's something to say. Like, here's the thing. Bob McKenzie said this morning that the Matthews deal is looking 5 or 6 years at this point, and Elliot Friedman has said the same thing. Okay, that's some actual news. That is tangible. It makes sense that the Leafs can't pay him maximum money for 8 years right now because the cap will just be too damn tight next year. Fine.
Yeah.
Understand that completely.
I
There's some
remember
news.
Fried talking about that like a month or two ago, and it might be Matthews' decision. It makes sense. Why would he lock himself in to 8 times, let's say 11, when at the time he's entering his prime, players of his quality are going to be making $15-16 million
Well,
a year.
especially with the new TV rights deal that's due up. Now, Katie Strang wrote something for The Athletic. I'm not going to get into it too much because Katie's brilliant and I am not. But there is
Fair.
There is a 2-year, or sorry, there's a deal coming up in the next few years that is going to be really, really important to the league. I don't think that you're going to see what we saw in the NBA. The NBA got an insane deal from ESPN. ESPN is struggling right now.
Oh, yeah?
And I mean, it's like the insane deal that, Rogers gave the NHL. That was a big contract. You're talking about Rogers changing its entire corporate priorities to involve the NHL.
Changed everything. They hired schmucks like me.
Changed everything.
Yeah.
And revitalized the Sportsnet brand. It did a whole bunch of different things. I don't know that you're going to see that sort of a pop the way the NBA did. And I don't think that NHL salaries in our lifetime are going to come close to what NBA salaries are. However, the idea that there's a huge influx of money coming not just from the new markets, but of course from a new television deal in the United States is very, very interesting. And players ought to pay attention to that. If you're Auston Matthews and you're going to be 26, you want to make maximum cash, right? You want to make insane amounts of money.
But really all he can do is be the best player he can be.
Oh,
And
you're
then he
saying
gets
this
to-
is why the deal's so short.
Yeah, because they know after
okay.
that lockout's done
Yeah.
and that deal's in, and you get a couple years into a TV deal, that's when you really start to see the momentum chugging, right?
Oh, so you
Especially-
think it's that?
Let's say it's with, because the NHL's original partner was ESPN. All through the 80s and 90s, it was ESPN.
And then they
right?
went with Versus?
Well, because they had $100 million deal on the table, and then the first lockout in 0304 or whenever it was.
0405.
The ESPN, that was the year that deal was supposed to start, and ESPN pulled the deal and said, we're putting the money somewhere else, sorry. And so the NHL lost their rights with ESPN. You think of where the NHL would be right now if they were still on ESPN. That really hurt them.
They
But
would've
if
found a way to screw
ESPN
it up.
walks in and says, sorry, NBC, we're taking the national rights, or NBC says we're paying more, but ESPN gets regional, or Fox Sports gets regional, or whatever, there's going to be a lot more money coming in for the league. And the players have, the younger players need to take notice of that. That's a smart career move.
Bringing you back to your point, though, let's just enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
We know Marner and Matthews are up. If they sign a deal or there's more information that comes out, great. But in the meantime, can we just relax with the contract extension stuff? Oh, my God.
I won't make people make promises they can't keep. So let's start with something a little easier. Okay? Something a little bit more immediate. Let's not judge Jake Muzzin, who has won a Stanley Cup and been in the league for at least half a decade, based on his first 5 games as a Toronto Maple Leaf, playing with brand new teammates and potentially in a different position.
Jesse, I think I will.
You
I
will?
think I will judge. Jesse's just
Screw
got up,
him.
so it's the wrong time to bring Jesse in on the conversation as he's changing the cameras over.
This is the guy they gave up a blur to blah 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 for? How could they? What did a computer tell him to do that?
And he shoots left. As if you know the difference.
Yeah, it's funny. I want to say it was Anthony Petrelli tweeted a video clip of Babcock talking about left versus right-handedness on defense at the World Cup of Hockey. I think the Leafs should play the best 6 defensemen they have. I just believe that. However, the importance of left versus right, it's not nothing.
No, it's not nothing. But to tell me that Jake Muzzin on the right side isn't still better than what they had is also bullshit.
I agree. No, yeah. So you're going from old left-handed defenseman on the right who's not fleet of foot to, hey, that's friggin' Jake Muzzin at very least. So it's definitely an upgrade. But there were so many times I saw Hainsey and everyone's ripping on him and he's so bad. And I'm like, what are his options? His options are fling it on his backhand or quickly adjust and fling it on his forehand. Because he just doesn't have that split second that if he was right-handed. Mm-hmm. Which makes you wonder, why isn't Zaitsev doing better? But play your best six, guys. Play your best six, guys.
A team that should be worried about contract extensions, unfortunately, given the position they're in, is Columbus.
What did you want to ask me something before I changed the
I
camera?
was just going to say I'm going to judge Muzzin as like Steve told us not to judge Muzzin right away. I for one choose to, and I wondered if you would join me in that.
I will not.
Oh, boo!
Because you asked me something and my answer is
no. You jerk.
No. Oh, I forgot to wear You're Literally the Nicest shirt, Adam.
Did you get that in lime green as well?
No, I got yours in golden yellow.
Oh, that's nice. Kind of like my first car.
Yes, exactly like your first car. I did bring an extra shirt. I had to, that's right. I brought an extra shirt because I'm shooting my Steve's hat picks and dang it's today.
Patrick Star?
Yeah, I want to know if you like my shirt.
That's cool.
It's a little creepy.
I thought Jesse would like it.
It's the meme.
It is the meme. Because you're a meme lord and
Where
you like memes.
Where did you get the shirt?
Jesse, I got it at Hot Topic.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. I'm a 30-year-old man and I walked into Hot Topic.
And they didn't arrest you?
No. And I bought this shirt, a Hey Arnold shirt.
That's amazing.
And a Goku shirt. Because...
So you bought the worst Dragon Ball.
Okay, first of all, you're wrong. That's second and third of all as well. How dare you? Stop it.
Artemi Panarin will probably be traded according to Aaron Portzline of The Athletic. It's unfortunate, but Dan Milstein says we're not going to discuss the future until after the season's over. Top priority is to focus on the rest of the season, trying to win a Stanley Cup for Columbus. It looks like the Columbus will give Korpisalo a shot over the next month or so to really see what they have with him, because it looks like Bobrovsky's on his way out too, especially given his fight with John Tortorella recently. Now things can be handled and wounds can be healed, but an Artemi Panarin trade.
Yeah, this was another one they were talking about on Hockey Central.
That would be enormous. You have to think.
I am.
And then,
they're a cup contender, man.
And that's what I look at. Like, first off, who can afford him? Even at, what is he making, $6?
$6 million.
Like, which teams, Jesse, do you have cap friendly up?
I do.
Which teams, just go to the front page, who's got $6 million in space?
In projected cap space?
Yeah, isn't it projected? Because we have to look at the projected number.
Projected cap space, we will start.
Because it's very complicated this part of the season.
From the middle, we hit $6 million. It's Columbus. Can they trade Panarin to themselves?
Well, this is the thing. They can acquire
for Oleksiak.
They can acquire guys who have term.
Okay.
Like, so they're going to have to get super creative. But, like, what is a playoff contending team that is willing to give up a good player with term who's also unhappy with their team and wants to make a change? Like, I don't know what this is.
If I'm Columbus, the team I call is Carolina. If you can get Michael Furlan plus,
it has to be plus. That's the problem, and you need to make up that offense, and Carolina just doesn't have it.
No, for sure they don't. But you would think Carolina would be like, we'll pay you whatever you want.
I don't think a lot of
Carolina's projected cap space, they are 31st, I guess. They have $16 million by the end of the season.
Wow.
Is their projected cap hit.
They just have no actual money.
And from there we go New Jersey, Colorado, New York Islanders, Vancouver Canucks, Montreal Canadiens, Philadelphia Flyers, Nashville Predators, Ottawa Senators, Arizona Coyotes.
Nashville's an interesting one.
It is.
Because I could see Nashville doing that. David Poile's not a guy that's afraid.
Okay, Tolvanen's gone, so you start there.
Yeah.
One of your defenders is gone. Which one is it?
One of the top four?
From Columbus.
Well, it can't be Ellis. I don't think Nashville can do that. I think Nashville has to be Tolvanen plus pick prospect. Has to be. Because why do the deal otherwise? Nashville's a great team. They need to get better. If you're talking about trading one of your superstars, that doesn't make sense for them.
But I don't know if it makes sense for Columbus because even though it's a decent haul, you're not getting anything that helps you in the present. So do you take part of or all of your haul from Nashville and then flip it? And flip it for what? It's such a messy situation because I genuinely think they're a cup contender, but they're also...
Do you think the fact that they're not willing to take the risk means they don't think they are? Like, if you were to look, Columbus has got 59 points. Pittsburgh's nibbling on the edge of the Metropolitan Division. Who knows what happens with the next 30-something games that they have?
Just nibbling?
Just nibbling.
Just nibbling.
Just, pecking. Because they're penguins, you see.
You see.
The Blue Jackets have a great record. They've got a strong team. They've unfortunately been saddled with some pretty tough Metro Division teams in the past. I was looking, if the playoffs started today, they'd be playing Washington, which is a tough series. But I feel like Columbus can win that series, especially given where Washington.
They could have won it last year.
Well, yeah.
I don't. So I wonder, if they're so willing to trade Panarin, if he's likely to be traded, as from what we've heard, then they must not believe the same way, or they must think we can be better in a couple years. We have a better shot then, and I just don't know.
It's such a different situation because it's not Steven Stamkos going to free agency, where Tampa's like, you know what, we're just going to risk it, and hopefully we'll be able to retain him. It's not like JVR going to free agency, where the team just sort of decided, you know what, we're going to have to part ways with this player. So I guess there's two outcomes, right? Mm-hmm. There's the Stamkos outcome, where they managed to pull it off. There's the Tavares outcome, where he leaves the Islanders. There's, the JVR one, where the team made the decision. This is the player essentially going, I'm leaving. Like, I don't think this is a negotiation tactic. Columbus, there's a few teams in the league who can't afford what a Philadelphia or a Rangers or a Leafs or a Habs can afford. The Columbus just isn't in that conversation. So they got to get the most out of their assets. So I don't think they can have this willy-nilly conversation we were having earlier of, oh, no, you keep Gardner, and the value you get is him being on your team. Mm-hmm. Yesterday's conversation on Hockey Central, I was sort of thinking keep those two. You might gotta get rid of both. You might gotta get rid of both, and I really don't know. God, I really don't know what the answer is in Columbus. That is a tough one. How are you a cup contender and in a bad spot all at the same time? Like, how do you pull that off? That's a weird one, man. That is a weird one. I just can't imagine a deal that makes sense for both Columbus and the team that they're going to trade to.
Is going to be a consistent narrative with middle market to low market NHL teams?
Oh, for sure.
Where they get their stars, but they have this internal cap where they can't keep them, and they're going to come up for free agency, and the team's going to be really good, but next year they won't be able to have them.
And this was the whole...
Can't compete with these other teams.
This was the whole point of the thing. This was the whole point of the cap system, and now it's getting to the point where there's haves and have-nots, and players are pilfered, and they're not with their team for as long. And I don't know. I wonder if part of the reason, Matthews, I thought was a financial thing. Mm-hmm. Once his 5-year deal is up, let's say, he can make more
and go to Arizona.
If that's his prerogative, because I wonder how many players are looking at McDavid and going, damn, that guy's got to be in Edmonton for 8 years. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's one of those things this can't sustain. You guys, half of the Coyotes are ghosts. And they're still doing all right.
They're okay.
They're still doing all right, but every year they got to root for a Rudy movie moment, it's just not a good way to be. It's interesting, man. This is now, I guess, devil's advocate in that regard. Mm-hmm. Maybe Columbus is a bit more like, a junior team where they just got to frickin' go for it. And if you lose, you lose.
But at least you went for it.
And you went for it, but you, at the tail end of that, you accept that you're going to be bad for a couple of years.
But I don't think they are. Like, I still don't think they're a bad team next
They'll be
year.
mediocre, at least. I mean, you still got Seth Jones. Cam Atkinson is an even better player than I even thought.
You can rebuild that very easily.
You can
retool that.
I was way too hard on the Blue Jackets. I want to say like 2 years ago. We were talking about like what an unmitigated cap mess it was. Man, they got the most out of their good young players. Now I'm talking myself back into keeping them. I don't know what they should do. I don't know what the right answer is.
Well, they obviously seem to think that they should move on.
Yeah.
And
the
so
ideal answer is they move on from both and find cost-controlled players and futures in a deal. I don't know where the hell you find that.
What I look at it for them is that you move on. If you move on now, you can move back into position quicker. If you let them walk away in this particular situation, like this is different from the Leafs with Gardner. The Leafs have superstars and they're locked up, or they're RFA. Mm-hmm. Panarin is their superstar, their scoring superstar. Bobrovsky is their superstar, their goalie superstar. Those two guys walk away without anything, then you're looking at a bit of a different situation. But if you retool now, you're still going to make the playoffs, you still get that revenue, plus whatever it is you get back, which you have to think is going to be somewhat high-end, whether it's bubbling under the surface or you get a cost-controlled player who scores a lot, you will be able to rebound quicker.
Adam, question. I'm going to give you a scenario. Okay? You have... We'll just call it success. I don't know what the achievement is. We'll just call it success. So, you currently have a 15% shot at success this year. But next year, your chance of success is 5%. Now, would you rather be in that scenario or another scenario where you have a 10% chance of success this year and a 7.5% chance of success next year? Which option do you take?
That's a really good scenario.
Yeah, it's tough. But my question would be, what about the year after? See, that's the thing.
7.5.
Panarin, if they trade Panarin and Bobrovsky, they're going to make the playoffs this year, you would think. And especially if you leave it right till the end, right? Mm-hmm. If you leave it right till the end of the trade deadline, you offload one of those guys. I don't think they're going to trade Bobrovsky. But Panarin, you offload him right before the trade deadline. You've still got, Panarin, you offloaded the trade deadline. He plays 20 games for someone else and goes into the playoffs. You've still got Bobrovsky as your goalie, assuming that Korpisalo hasn't taken over, or you say you're not really sure of him as a starter. So you still get the playoff revenue, which is great. You make the playoffs next year, maybe a bit of a down year, but whatever you got for Panarin or Panarin and Bobrovsky, you are then able to spin back into a 15% shot the year after, but for sustained multiple years. And if that becomes the case, then it's worth it.
Okay, how about this scenario? What do I always say when you don't know what to do with your team?
Leave it.
Go young and fast. Which a lot of times it's just leave it.
Yeah, leave it alone.
In order to achieve that.
Don't touch it.
Because let's say the Blue Jackets go for it this year. Maybe they win, maybe they don't. Next year they're bad. Who knows, maybe they even get a top 10 pick. Maybe they get a top 5 pick. Maybe they win the damn draft lottery and get picked 3, 2, or 1.
We should talk about that. We'll continue.
Yes. They, all of a sudden, going young and fast is a lot easier to achieve. Or you trade those guys right now and you get futures, which are young and fast guys. So I think going for it now, keeping those guys, first of all, it costs you nothing. And second of all, I don't know how much it costs you down the line, because I feel like the NHL is changing so quickly. The Oilers are the outlier. Everyone looks at them as the big scary monster hiding under your bed. They're the outlier. Look at the Islanders this year. Look at the Sabres this year, even though I think they're on the outside.
They
looking
are, but
in.
still.
New Jersey last year, and then they proceeded to do nothing over the offseason. So, I mean, how did you expect to sustain it? The Leafs, the Canucks, the Canadians. Going for it 1 year doesn't mean you have to suck for the next 5 anymore. Now I've talked myself back into it. Columbus should keep him. I don't know, man. I don't envy Jarmo Kekalainen, not one bit.
The Colorado Avalanche currently have the best odds to get the first overall draft pick.
Yes, they do.
Oh, Ottawa, I'm so sorry.
Do they trade that draft pick
No.
and get the sun and the moon
It would have to be
and
that.
win now?
It would have to be literally that.
Is that not interesting to you?
It's extraordinarily
Because
interesting.
it's not like this is just a free gift that landed in their lap. It's like, do whatever you want with it.
Are you frigging suggesting the Colorado Avalanche send the potential first overall pick, a almost guaranteed top 5 pick?
At this point, yes.
At this point,
Yeah.
to the Columbus Blue Jackets for Artemi Panarin.
I'm not, but that's interesting.
That's where I thought you were going with that.
That didn't pop into my mind, but
Oh, man, you got to think Jarmo Kekalainen's checked in on it. Because here's where Colorado sits here. Okay?
I love that.
Colorado is in the Pacific Division.
They are
not in the Pacific Division. They're in the Central Division. Sorry.
that's not right at all.
They are 3 points out of third in that division. Nashville is 64 points. Minnesota is 55. Colorado 52. But Dallas has 52 as well. Dallas and Colorado are neck and neck for the last 2 playoff spots in the West. Vancouver also has 52 points, but they've played 1 more game than Colorado and 2 more than Dallas. And the Anaheim Ducks and the Arizona Coyotes are both within a win of being in that spot.
Can I just say, so that's a logjam, right, at the bottom of the West. And, oh, man, there's so many teams competing for that spot. That's how people talk about it. Oh, they're all competing for that spot. I talked to someone the other day, can't remember who it was, but they were like, no one wants it. Like, the only team in that bunch that you just named that's actually competing for that last spot, I think St. Louis has had a bit of a resurgence, and the Coyotes, actually, because they've been good lately. The rest of them are in that position. They've been trash. How is Colorado, after the amount of games that they've lost recently, still there? How is Dallas still there? How is Edmonton in that conversation at all?
Because the West isn't very good anymore.
Anaheim lost, 11 straight games?
They've been 2-6-2 in their last 10.
Which means they're heating up.
Colorado's been 3-7 in their last 10. Dallas has been 4-5-1. Arizona's been the best out of the bunch at 6-2-2. Edmonton's been 4-6, lost 3 in a row. None of
those teams stink.
Terrible.
At the moment, they stink.
Yeah.
Oh my! So there's another little incentive, I would say.
Adam, do you trade potential Jack
Oh wait,
Hughes?
no, never mind. I was going to say that's another incentive for Columbus to keep because they'll have an easier time. And then I remembered they're not in the West anymore.
No, they're in the East.
They're in the East. Damn it!
Do you trade potential Jack Hughes, Adam Wild?
You better get the sun and the damn moon.
I mean, not for 1 year of Artemi Panarin, or for 20 games.
Oh, God, no.
He signs the extension, or I don't take him.
Yeah. You don't trade him for
I feel like
2
Colorado
months.
could use a Jack Hughes. I think he's the difference maker next year when you're in the same position.
Yeah.
You get Nate McKinnon in front, and then you got who's making just the ridiculously low amount of money.
You
And
add.
then-
Oh my God! Someone. Oh my God! Who
but
was
he
it?
took till he was like, what, 23, 24 to really explode.
This was a behind-the-scenes conversation at ice surfing. Would you, Leafs fans and Avalanche fans, trade Auston Matthews straight up for Nathan McKinnon? Now, McKinnon makes probably half of what he could make in the open market. He's on, like, do you trade Nathan McKinnon, who's like entering his prime, okay, for Matthews, who's not even there yet, might even be better, but you're going to have to pay twice as much for the guy? It's an interesting conversation.
And the argument always is, like, McKinnon is already
He's
the
there.
MVP candidate.
Yep.
He's already that guy.
Yep.
Auston Matthews still has to grow into that guy. So you take the guy who's already the guy.
McKinnon makes less than JVR, makes less than Evander Kane. Like, those guys are second-line goal scorers that you can use on the top line,
McKinnon.
probably on the top power play unit. McKinnon's a heart candidate, this guy.
McKinnon has 71 points right now
That's silly. It's not
50
even February.
in 50 games.
Stop that right now.
Had 97 last year. In 74 games.
So he could get 0 points for the next 21 games and still be a point a game.
Yes.
That's so dumb. Oh my god. You know, the only thing threatening the trade deadline right now in terms of entertainment value is all the trades happening before the actual deadline. The Leafs just made their big splash.
Yep.
So that sucks for television coverage, but it doesn't, because that's how you start your show. Is
You
you
also
go,
need-
it all
yeah.
started today.
Yeah.
But the next month and a bit, because now it's become this month-long damn thing. It's not one day. The next month and a bit, we're in for a wild ride, man. We're in for a wild ride. I can't imagine how Colorado justifies that.
What?
Trading the potential first overall pick.
I don't know.
No, I don't think they can do it.
To Edmonton.
Dude, you
For Leon Draisaitl.
You go to bed at night. Oh my God. You go to bed at night and dream to get the sort of deal that the Avalanche did, where the other team screwed up. They screwed up in the worst fathomable way. They decided to go into one of the worst seasons in franchise history without their first. They could have given Colorado the 4th pick last year.
You know, my favorite
They
thing
could have
about
done it, but they chose not to.
But my favorite thing about Ottawa is that they're a team.
We're a team.
And as Jesse said, bet on yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And-
I was on that bandwagon all last year.
And also,
on
you
yourself.
do bet on yourself when you're Ottawa. You bet on being the same, which is rolling right on down that hill.
And earlier this season, I was like, damn, they were right to bet on themselves.
That's
And then,
another.
oh,
That's another team where I go, yeah. If they don't get Mark Stone and Matt Duchene signed, those guys could be on the block too.
well, and there was something that was said, I want to say at least 3 weeks ago, and it was Mark Stone. They got to decide on him in the next 2 weeks or he's gone.
Yeah, that's.
He's still there. It's weird. It's very quiet on that front.
It
I haven't
is,
heard
but
a
Cody
ton.
Cece's name's coming up now.
It's coming up.
Somebody's going to overpay for Cody Cece.
Ottawa's such a wild card. And at this point, you might as well recoup the assets. Like, the Leafs in 2011 didn't have their first, and they knew they didn't have their first, but they sold anyway. Mm-hmm. And they ended up picking twice in the first round in 2011 regardless. Now, those picks were Tyler Biggs and Stuart Percy, but let's not get caught up in the specifics. The fact of the matter is they were able to
Stuart
pick
Percy
twice.
matured into like an 84 in NHL. I want to say like 2014.
They
or
screwed him
something.
up.
He had a high potential in that game.
He would have been fine. I think
at
they
least-
screwed him up.
I think you take a Stuart Percy and put him in today's system, and he makes it.
Yeah, Dubas.
Okay.
Dubas, I remember, cited him like he was a guy they yo-yoed, which they don't do anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like you notice with Borgman, they're like he's ready, and the second they decided we messed up, they send him down, and we haven't seen him again.
In fact,
Fair.
Rosen, he's not ready. They sent him down, and we haven't seen him again. You
but
know,
he's starting to be.
yeah, it's guys. The guys they yo-yo are more
Yeah.
where they're like you're ready.
Didn't
and
Rosen sign an extension, by the way?
He did.
Interesting.
He did.
Small note in the Matt Duchene trade. Colorado also has Ottawa's 3rd round pick this season. So it could be the first overall in the 3rd round as well.
The first overall and the I guess that would be the 62nd overall pick.
By the way,
Damn Vegas for screwing everything up.
they also, it's funny with that, because if you look at the graphs, you talk to advanced analytics guys, they say a late first is somewhat comparable to a first pick in the 3rd round.
Yeah, the value is crazy high at the top,
And then
it's
just-
still good at like 10, and then around 22, 23, the difference between 22 and 23 and like 45. The
marginal.
graph flattens out.
Now, that doesn't mean you don't find stars in there from time to time. Jamie Benn was a 5th round pick, right?
Yeah, well,
But-
there's parts in that graph that go up.
Sure.
Because, like, I don't know, Pavel Datsuk
Yeah.
has made the 200 and whatever pick strong forever. You know, Patrick Hornquist, like, we need to sell the farm to get the last overall pick because for whatever reason they always make it. Like, no.
It's true. Yeah.
But yes, it is more picks in rounds 2 to 7 are
Similar.
Preferred.
Yeah, yeah. So we are we're a little tight on time today.
Yeah, that's
Steve's
my
got
fault
lots
there,
to do, but that's
Simmons.
okay.
Sorry.
Let's do the press conference now.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
There are, according to our Reddit page, 7 teams in the National Hockey League that the Toronto Maple Leafs have not made a trade with since 2013. That's
Okay.
when Dave Notice first made his first trade. Can you name those 7 teams?
Since 2013.
January 16th, 2013, Dave Notice made his first trade. This is from cheesy_dangles. Since then, there have been 7 teams that Toronto has not made a trade with. List off those 7 teams.
I don't think they've made a deal with Calgary.
You are incorrect.
Damn.
First choice.
Who'd
Adam?
they trade with Calgary?
Nielsen, Klimchuk.
It just
Adam.
happened. Idiot.
Next guess. Three incorrect answers. I give you your game's over. That's how we're playing this one.
Can I ask when?
It's Adam's turn.
The Florida Panthers.
Fair.
2 wrong.
What was that one?
5th for Hutch.
Oh yeah, that was this year too.
Well, you only got one incorrect left. Steve, it's your turn.
Oh, we get 3 combined.
No, not combined. Come
Yeah,
on.
combined. All right, 3 each.
That's a lot of pressure. Okay, they have made a deal with Vegas.
See,
They have made a deal with Dallas. They have.
This is why it's 3
Oh,
combined.
okay, yeah. Because Iceberg over here really really likes to slow down the segments.
Iceberg.
Just call him Iceberg.
See, you're chugging right along. You got the Titanic. You spent all this money and all these passengers. And Steve's like, oh, I see that segment. Let me get in the way.
What is happening?
He's just saying that I get in the way.
I'm just kidding. buddy.
I'm going to
just
say, okay, there was a team they used to trade with all the time, but then they sort of stopped. I'm going to say Nashville.
Steven, that's 3 incorrect. Nah, that's 2 for you. They traded Beck for...
Oh, Taylor Beck.
Yeah, traded Taylor Beck.
They traded
Jamie Devan.
with
Devan.
50,000 people to the Islanders.
That was 2015. Adam,
Damn,
it's
Taylor
your
Beck,
guess.
that poor guy. Gets
So
traded
far-
on picture day.
We've got all incorrect answers.
Man.
Gave you 6 wrongs, and you can't even get them right.
The Winnipeg Jets.
Ding, ding, ding!
Damn
One
it!
team we have not made a trade. The Leafs have not made a trade with yet. They've made a trade with the Winnipeg in 2012.
It was Jonas Gustafsson.
Was that it? I don't know. I don't
think
have
so.
They didn't list the trade.
Also
for that,
known
but-
as the Gus. Not really.
They traded Gustafsson. It was for like a conditional 7th or something, and they were going to be my next freaking guess, but I didn't know when that trade was.
Steven? Adam has 1 point. You have 0.
And I have 0.
And you have 2 incorrects.
I'm on the verge of getting eliminated.
There's only 6 teams remaining.
That's crazy, and I can't even guess one of them?
No. There's one easy one out there.
Stop that.
Okay.
I don't think they've made a deal since the JVR deal with Philadelphia.
Ding, 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 ding!
Yes!
Philadelphia is
Yes.
one of the 7 teams Toronto has not made a trade with since 2013. Steven has 1 point on the board and 2 incorrect. Adam, you have 1 point on the board and 1 incorrect. It is your turn.
This is a great game, by the way.
I love it. Thank you, Reddit.
Hold on.
Thank you, cheesy_dangles, for doing all of my work.
I'm taking a risk here. Taking a risk here.
You have room to play with. You're only 2 strikes. Or 1 strike.
I'm going to say the Boston Bruins.
Ding, ding, ding!
Yeah!
There you go.
I don't think they've made a deal with Boston since Caberlet.
2011 is the last time they made a deal with Boston. There's 2 correct for Adam.
Wow! Damn.
Steve?
I'm almost positive they made some sort of dinky-ass little trade, but I'm going to say Arizona.
Peter Holland for a 6th.
And then he scored the winner.
On
Remember
December
that?
9th, 2016.
Shit, remember
the
that?
shootout winner. I
The
do
other
remember that.
teams were Steve was eliminated. Adam is our winner in this challenge.
Damn.
The other teams were Buffalo. They haven't made it with.
That was going to be my next guess.
They haven't made a trade with Buffalo since 2009. They haven't made a trade with Detroit since 1998.
Wow.
What?
With Larry Murphy.
They haven't made a trade with Minnesota since 2009. They haven't made a trade with New York Rangers since
Wait.
2011.
Minnesota, really?
Yeah.
Shit.
And that's those 7 teams: Boston, Buffalo, Detroit, Minnesota, New York Rangers, Philly, and Winnipeg.
Now,
2013.
and there's an asterisk on Detroit.
Why is that?
Because they gave them a pick
That doesn't count.
for Babcock.
No,
Bavarino.
It's a little bit of a trade.
A little bit. Final question to wrap up our show. 69 Lil Bean 69
Nice.
is their name. They want
I'm
to
salty
know.
that you beat me.
This is the one time and the one time only.
Damn.
Adam, who would win in a speed skating competition? Steve Dangle or Gritty?
Ooh,
Gritty.
Gritty.
Gritty competed, yeah.
I was blown away by
he was-
Gritty, actually.
Gritty's an athlete, first of all, and spends so much more time on the ice. Like, no, I couldn't beat Gritty.
Gritty in full costume?
I don't know. What was his time?
Give me a second.
I'm upset that you guys think I can't do 30 seconds around the ice. I can do that, like, just casual adult skate.
Why don't we
Can
put
you?
a bell pepper on it and prove it?
Oh.
Oh, wait. You won't eat it anyway.
I will eat it. Stop
First,
it.
until I paint my house, and then I will eat the
We've
bell
already
pepper.
painted the house.
Again.
Again. What do we got, Jesse?
I don't have his time. I said Gritty will compete. Let me check Twitter.
It doesn't matter.
I think it does. When we eventually
Just
get
look up
you
the
to
video.
do Gritty, what is it?
It was Gritty versus
All-Star.
Sharky.
Oh, good.
Yes. You can find it on the Sportsnet YouTube channel there, Jesse.
Oh, can you?
I gotta be on the
Gritty
ice
destroys
with Mark
Sharky.
Savard in 2 days. And I am terrified.
Are you allowed to talk about that?
I don't know.
When is the Leafs next game? Friday?
Friday. There's Gritty.
Fastest skater competition, Gritty. Probably gonna be an ad that's gonna delay this.
Yeah, but it's okay because it's paying the bills. Rogers bills.
There we go.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so Sharky. Okay, screw Sharky's time.
Doesn't matter what Sharky's.
Oh, Gritty's. No,
It was
I
just-
couldn't beat that. Look at him go.
No.
He's doing. Look at that goofy
crossovers.
costume, and he's doing crossovers.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Gritty would smoke me. That guy flies.
Gritty would probably smoke me. Like, he's very good.
That's a good
He's not
skater.
that fast. He's technically sound.
He's
But dude,
very
that
technically
guy in
sound.
a costume? Damn. Come on.
Yeah, whoever's the mascot is clearly a professional skater.
That guy's a
But
like, is that
they
Jakub
don't have the
Voracek
time on the screen.
under there?
We don't even know how fast this was.
Sharky's doing crossovers too? I suck.
Steve.
That's
you're
under.
learning.
Oh, and he fell. Oh, that's tough. Did you see the controversy with the AHL fastest skater competition?
Controversy.
Controversy?
What was the controversy?
The guy's name, I want to say Anthony Greco, set the new AHL record for the speed skating. Or fastest skater. 13.2 something.
yeah, he beat McDavid.
He beat McDavid's time of 13.3. Then, someone named, I think it was Jeremy Thompson, posted on Twitter that his time was actually closer to like 13.7. So now I don't know who to believe.
Why did they say that?
I don't know, because they showed the video and just timed it. But also, it's
I think the
Grainy video with
arena timing would be better than a guy on Twitter with a stopwatch.
that's my assumption as well. But it also just solidifies to me how the hardest shot and fastest skater should be open. Should be open to all competitors. If you're in the AHL, you can maybe limit it to the AHL. You know? If you're in the AHL, in terms of professional men's leagues, I mean, gotta have Kendall Coyne in there again. And like, I wanna, like, what if there's some dude, what if there's like an actual speed skater, but they gotta put on hockey skates, so it's completely different? Like, I want Charles and Francois Hamelin in there. Like, I don't know, I think it'd be
Can't-
really interesting. And also Ristolainen should be able to compete and
I
hurt a
think
shot.
the idea, though, is to just to find out who it is in the league. Like, if you want to do a fastest skater in the world,
Yeah.
then I think that's a different competition, too.
It's the
right?
Olympics.
So in the league, then, it should be open.
I think
It's the
they already
Olympics.
have that.
Olympics, you
Wait, so they should, and they don't have to wear hockey equipment. They wear these like sperm suits and like speed skates.
You just call them sperm.
Sperm suits. Rest in peace, Robin Williams. I'm going to dress like a sperm. No? Yeah, no, it should be open though. Andreas
what?
Athanasiou should be there. Kasperi
Open
Kapanen
to
should
what?
be there. Open to any takers, not just people
Just
who made the
20,000
All-Star
people
game.
lining up and taking a shot.
Yeah.
No, like how the NBA does their All-Star weekend.
Yes.
Like, you don't have to make an All-Star team to compete in
Yeah.
a three-point
No.
competition.
I agree.
Yeah, that's stupid. Yeah, you should be able to compete the skills competition regardless
Yeah,
of if
Yes. I
you
agree
made
with that.
the All-Star team.
It
That's-
also brings more people there, so you
Yeah.
get more representation. They're
Yeah.
so damn worried about the representation that, like, oh, we got to have Keith Yandel there. Keith Yandel's the guy
Thank
that's going to
goodness,
sell
by
this
the way.
game.
I wouldn't have enjoyed it otherwise.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely not Mitch Marner or Morgan Riley.
Or Braden Point.
Or Braden Point, yeah. Oh my
Braden
God.
Point not being there is
Astounding.
egregious. Yeah, that's really bad.
And I no offense to Keith Yandel, who's having an all-star season, good for him.
Sure.
But let's not pretend from a marketing
Listen,
perspective that that's the guy.
Every team has to be represented. Unless you're Montreal and FU.
Right.
Because they
right.
one
won't
thing-
Or not.
One thing I forgot before we go. I forgot last episode that we had to do our January Stanley Cup picks. So I don't know if we want to do our January and February Stanley Cup picks.
No, we'll do our Feb picks in
Late
the next
Feb.
episode.
Yes.
Or something.
No,
Oh yeah, it's not even February yet. What am I talking about? We didn't even miss January. It's still January.
Yeah, stop yelling at us.
Ah!
Stop screaming.
My
at us.
January Stanley Cup pick is the Tampa Bay Lightning from the Eastern Conference, because that is an easy pick. And in the Western Conference, I will pick the San Jose Sharks.
That is my exact pick.
Tampa
San
Bay
Jose.
Lightning, Minnesota Wild.
Are you out of your mind?
Just to piss Steve off.
Are they even in a playoff spot?
They are third in the Central Division. Girl.
I didn't
Is
know
it
that.
strange to you that the Leafs have failed to compete in a shootout yet this year? Does that say anything about the team?
No.
No, they're just lucky and having fun.
You could argue that their record is the most accurate because they haven't had any games decided by that.
Yep.
That's what I would say.
They are what we thought they were. They have 0 shootout points.
Yeah. Zero asterisks.
Yep, 0. And then there's the 3-on-3 is not hockey.
You're
It's,
not.
Except for
it's
the
hockey.
fact that there's play.
Yeah, there's
So-
like defense and yeah. Shut your face.
All right, with that, we're going to come back with another show on Saturday?
Yeah.
Saturday.
Smarten up! Saturdays! Smarten up Saturdays on Steve Dangle Parker!
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.